Get ready to be inspired by the people, stories, and opportunities in Africa. We're a global community of Africans and friends of Africa with no boundaries. Together, we celebrate the continent's successes and help provide solutions to some of its greatest challenges. Impact Africa airs live every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. GMT at listenvisionlive.com. You can also catch previous episodes on iTunes and on the show's website, impactafricaonline.com. Connect with Impact Africa on Twitter and Facebook at @UImpactAfrica. Together, we'll discover that the real Africa is full of amazing talents and great opportunities. Welcome to Impact Africa. Africa has long been associated with needing aid and handouts. Today, you'll learn so much more about this wonderful continent from enlightening stories, people, and ideas. Now, here is your host, Tope Fajinbesi.
Good morning, America. Good afternoon, Africa. Welcome to another edition of Impact Africa. It's a blessing and a pleasure to be here today. And I want to first of all start by wishing all our viewers and our listeners happy Easter. Today is Easter Sunday all across the world. I hope you're all having a wonderful celebration. Happy Easter to everybody. And we'll begin with the news segment with IJ Reads News. And first of all, the first order of the day is a heartfelt congratulations to all the people of Nigeria, not just the new President-elect Muhammadu Buhari, not just to him, but indeed to all Nigerians, because people were predicting all sorts of doomsday scenarios, saying things were not going to work out. There was going to be a problem if the opposition won, but all those things haven't happened and wouldn't happen by the grace of God. And we're so grateful, we're so happy, and we're so thankful that Nigeria is going through this transition. We look forward to a new Nigeria, and we look forward to the change that he has promised us during his campaign. And we hope that all Nigerians will join hands together with him to create a better country. And still on Nigeria, we remember the story of Sahila Ibrahim, the Nigerian-American Harvard undergraduate student. Well, there's more where that came from. A Nigerian high schooler has been admitted to all 8 Ivy League colleges in the USA. His name is Harold Ake, and he's a salutarian from Elmont High School on Long Island, and he just achieved the rare and remarkable feat of being accepted to all prestigious Ivy League schools in the USA. We're really glad, and we congratulate him, and we hope that he selects the best school for him. Well, from those good news to really bad news, and this is very heartbreaking news from Kenya, and I on purpose don't want to show the pictures of the Garissa attack, where about 150 university students were murdered by Al-Shabaab terrorists. You know, this is just heartbreaking. This is really sad. You know, in addition to the fact that the whole world isn't coming to our aid, nobody's marching because Africans are killing Africans. But I'm just wondering, you know, why we are doing this. Why are we doing this to ourselves? What can justify an African or a human being killing another person? This is just really, really sad, and this is evil. And there is no religion in the world that I know that condones this kind of act of terror. And I'm hoping that the leaders around the world will stand with Kenya and will support that country in their bid to defend their people and their sovereignty from this terrorists who have vowed to strike back, who have indeed said they want to turn all the streets of Kenya into some bloodbath. I hope and pray that the people of Kenya, and indeed all of us, will remain safe against all these acts of terror. This is really sad, and my heart goes out to all the Kenyans. Well, we want to wrap up IJ Reads News with some good news, and that is The Daily Show, which is an American show that is largely recognized as a cultural touchstone for millions of Americans, and indeed a channel for engagement among youths, has named South African Trevor Noah as the replacement for Jon Stewart. this is really great. We're really proud and we're happy, and we wish Trevor all the best. So for more news about Africa, Africans, and everything else, please visit IJ Reads the News on Facebook for more stories. We will take a break from Destination Africa today, but we'll be back next week. And there's a reason why we're taking a break today, and that's because we have a long and very interesting chat with T. Morgan and IJ Anusionwu. Yes, IJ, the one who sends the news. They've got something really fantastic to say, and I had a very long chat with them, recorded it. After the short break, you would listen to that interview, and I tell you, you'll be inspired. When we come back, you'll be inspired by all the secrets that they have to share. It's all about healthy living today, about how Africans can fight some of these diseases that are ravaging our continent these days. But go to asweetstay.com to visit many African destinations and to see more pictures. But we'll be back with Destination Africa next week. So please don't go away. No, it's the recording. That so there's a 30-minute recording in that flash drive. So you don't have to show me at all. Okay, thank you. Yes. So there are 4 pictures, but they'll be scrolling, but the main one would be the one that has a main, the one I tagged main. Then you can also show the Impact Africa logo. I wish I had a picture of myself so that there too.
You are listening to Impact Africa.
Welcome to Impact Africa, T. Morgan and Ijoma Anusionwu. Both of you are joining me from India and Qatar. It's a pleasure to be able to speak with both of you about an issue that many women struggle with. And I'm hoping that even I can gain something from the conversation we're going to have. And T, I'm going to start with you. You look fantastic. And,
thank you.
You're probably like a size 0 or a size 1 or something.
No. I am a UK size 10.
No way.
Sometimes I can probably fit into a UK 8, but I like the UK 10. The UK 10 is a comfortable size for me because I do have a little bit of African hips. So
oh, wow.
It doesn't quite fit,
that.
right?
I cannot see that. I'm going to let people who are watching, see that, because I'm going to be displaying your picture by the time we play this. But I'm telling you, I cannot see that because I am a UK 10 or 11. Well, now that you're saying 8, I'm going to say I'm a UK 12 because.
Well, I'm more of a 10. But the funny thing about it, on this journey, it's not really about. It's not about the size or the numbers on the scale. Mm-hmm. That's not what it's all about for me. So. Yes, initially when I first started, I really, really wanted to get into a UK 10 from a UK 26. So, but now it's just, as long as I can see my body shape, it's okay. And it's really what I do every day. That's what counts.
Wow. And, honestly, that is very inspiring. And you started a group that is encouraging women, to live healthy on Facebook. I'm a member of that group. IJ is a member of that group. I'm going to let IJ talk about that in a little while. But I want to ask you, why did you start this group that has become such a movement, really?
Actually, it was AG Nicole Ezomo and myself, and there was Uche Kachuku. It was meant to be her 40th birthday, and I remember having a conversation on Facebook, and she was like, T, you have to come for my 40th birthday. And I said to her, at that time, I just lost a baby, my 5th child. So I just had a miscarriage. I gained so much weight, but I was still putting my old pictures on Facebook, and people thought I was still really slim, but no, I wasn't. I gained a lot of weight. And she was like, you have to come to Florida. And I said to her, honestly, I don't think I'll be able to come because I've gained a lot of weight. I'm not going to buy a ticket and come with this size. And she was like, no, you got to come as my 40th. And I said, hang on, maybe I should just try to lose weight. And AJ was like, I'm going to join you. So I said, okay, let's open a group. It was just meant to be the three of us just reporting ourselves and being accountable each day. That was the whole, we didn't have any wider vision of we. That was not what it was all about. It was just a few friends coming together, trying to lose weight for a party.
Wow. AJ, did you know this was the whole thing behind Wheel? Did you know that?
Actually, not at all. I was added to Wheel. I'm only now finding out that it's pronounced Wheel. Just because I've only ever read it, but I was just added to it. I'm somebody who had a similar weight loss story as T did. I only found out, haven't been part of we and haven't watched her share her story, but I had to do it alone. I can tell you that ever since I joined, if I had access to a group like that, where I got to see not necessarily people being accountable to me, but just being able to see other people's struggles, other people's stories, other people's progress, I think I would have, because when I had to do it on my own, there were many times when I got discouraged, and many times when I yo-yoed, I got discouraged and I stopped. I feel like if I had access to a group where I could see people having similar situations as myself, I might have lost the weight that I lost much faster. Yeah. I used to be a size 16. I'm now close to a size 4. But for me, it took 5 years. I think if I had access to a community like Woo, is it Woo or We?
Well, I think everyone has it depends on which dialect you're speaking. If I go to my Shekiri dialect, it might sound differently, so please. But can I just add to what EJ just said? Because EJ actually, she joined in 2011. She joined when we started. I remember you're one of the oldest members.
No, I didn't remember, because again, I was just added. I was never given a context, so I didn't know, I had no idea when this group had started. So, again, since you're the administrator, you probably would know better, but I just was added by a friend and I just kind of stayed on it.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Inspiring. Wow. That's nice. Yeah.
This is really interesting, because I think I was added by my best friend, Ngozi. And at the time, that I was added, I was going through a very rough patch in my life. And this is one of the things I like about We. It's not just women trying to find out the best recipes that wouldn't make them, overweight or live unhealthy. It's also seeing other women who are going through challenges that are somehow adding to the struggle to lose weight.
Yeah.
I was going through a divorce when I joined We. And I was also about, I think, maybe 200 and something pounds at that time, 200 pounds.
Wow, you've done well.
And it was just, thank you very much. And it was just seeing other women somebody would post, oh, I just lost my mother. Oh, I just did this. Oh, I just left my husband. Oh, or I just got a new job. There was something happening and you felt like you weren't alone, and you understood that people were actually, overcoming challenges, and you could do the same thing. So I want to say, honestly, congratulations to you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That means a lot. I mean, the good thing about it is we formed it as a closed group because we wanted women to feel free. The internet, the social media is just, everyone can access different things and use your pictures. And even now as a closed group, you're not really allowed to take what, doesn't belong to you unless, you ask first. So we wanted women to feel free, come in, rant, shout, scream. This journey is really difficult. I found out that I couldn't do it on my own. I'm quite disciplined. Thank God for that. I can wake up, I could go run, I can go to the gym. But, just like you said, coming in there and having to struggle, like, oh my God, I've just eaten. I love plants. I love food. Food is, we can talk about that later. Food is the greatest, the greatest problem I have. People see me like, oh, T, she's so slim. Do you eat? And I laugh. Food, exercise is not my problem. I can exercise 7. I have to have a compulsory rest day. I have to tell myself, T, today you are not exercising. It's the food, because I love to cook. I love the kitchen. I love to cook. I love to look at recipes and find new ways. And that's what we started to do and it's working. New ways to eat. Wow. And I think that's the key. 80%, 20. Well, it depends on how you want to do your percentage, but I think food means everything on this journey.
Wow. You like to eat?
I do.
Can't even believe that. I'm telling you.
She posts pictures of all her meals, so I can believe that.
The only pictures I remember that T posts about food is, I don't see plenty of meats inside, though. I just see some.
Oh, that's a very okay. Can I just address that? Like, to be honest, I stopped eating red meat, and I'm not a vegetarian. I wish I was, and I'm going to be 42 in a couple of days, and I'm actually thinking maybe I should try a vegetarian diet for a month. Not because I'm not, I'm not trying to have a movement here, but I don't have red meat because my body retains a lot of water, and the reason why I've said that is I get swollen ankles, and I get really bloated, and I just feel really lazy when I eat red meat. So I started to look at my blood type, and because it's all about experiments, I could put things out there and say, oh, try this, do that, which I don't really do, because I like people to find things out for themselves. Some people don't spend time to research. It might work for me, it might not work for you. So I switched over to like seafood, more like salmon, prawns and stuff like that. And also I would have chicken like alternate days. And I saw the difference in my performance with running and with the water retention. It made a lot of difference. I still love the smell of red meat when I cook stew, and I watch my husband and kids eat it. But I don't, purely because I know that it does something for me, and I really can't explain it because I don't have any scientific explanation. I'm not a medical doctor or nutritionist, but it's not right for my body. Maybe my blood group. I still have to investigate further. So that's why I don't eat red meat.
Wow. You know what? I think
that would be hard for me.
Point. Honestly, you might have a point, but for me too, it is tough. But IJ, I want to go to you right now because you just ran your first half marathon.
Yeah.
Let me just say that, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I honestly, maybe it might happen, but I don't know. It's for me, I don't think it's the distance. I think I'm such a restless person in my mind. What do I think about for that long? What were you thinking? How did you quiet your mind a little bit?
I'd say running a marathon is just one of those things that, for years now, it's just one of those things I want to do more out of vanity. Like I want to check that box, and I think I started running. I would do maybe 3 miles, every other day in the week. I noticed I could never do more than 3 miles. And then being part of I would see people posting just very casual things about, oh yeah, I just ran this, I would see people running way beyond 3 miles like it's nothing. And I was started wondering, like, what is this? If they can do it, how come I'm having so much trouble? But I always noticed that on a treadmill, even as I'm approaching the 3 mile mark, my body is already shutting down, like it's done. And so it was a goal I always had, but I still kind of convinced myself, I guess, people's bodies are built for certain things. Maybe that's just not the thing for me. So a lot of my, my weight loss fitness goals I achieved with things like spinning and, other things beyond running. And then, I'm a very big, as you may have noticed, as a personal friend of mine, I'm a very big NPR junkie. There's this podcast I really love called Radio Lab. They did a show on where they were exploring the question as why is it that Kenyans are very good? They really dominate the long distance running, sector or segment of, and so they came up with a lot of explanations. They kind of explored and had different speakers or experts come talk. And one of the reasons they gave was because they have this body built, their body is built for long distance running. And they explained the physics behind that. The further away your limbs go from your center of gravity, if your limbs become thinner, it allows you to run faster for longer with using less energy than somebody who has, say, thicker ankles or thicker wrists. And that's because when you run, your legs and your arms are like pendulums. They're swinging the entire time. And the heavier weights you have at those extremities make you require more energy. Whereas, Kenyans, well, not just Kenyans, but there's a very specific tribe. They call it, I think, the Kalenji tribe in Kenya. And so they have this build where their limbs are, they taper. And I used to, all my life, my friends who know me know that I have extremely tiny hands, tiny feet, like my limbs tapered dramatically. And I was listening to that. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm built for this. I'm built to run.
I don't know how that's going to work with me because I'm the complete opposite from this build that you just described.
Me too.
I have fat legs. I've got thick thighs. I just don't know if that would work. But, well, that's interesting. Thanks, EJ, because I've just learned something new now.
Wow. I'm looking at my hands and my legs right now. Maybe I'm not built to run. But honestly, I think that I definitely feel I understand, getting this knowledge and understanding and seeing people being able to do this when you hear others, doing that. And T, I want to ask you, a question about the big feat that you just had. 7 continents, twice.
Yes.
Marathon. Oh my goodness. First of all, when I was reading that, I said, how is it even possible?
Well, it's when I did Antarctica, because I've done it twice. The first time I did it, we were sitting down having dinner, and a friend of mine said, why don't we do this, why don't we do the 7 continents in 7 days? And I looked at him like, are you serious? He was like, yes, we can. And I'm like, how can we?
Oh my God.
I mean, apart from, we're not even talking about running, but the logistics. It was like, okay, I'm going to look into flights and tickets and I'll get back to all of you. So he looked into it and he sent us this email. And I showed it to my husband. I'm like, I've got to do this. And he looked at me. He says, but you've got a bad leg. Can your leg hold up? I said, well, I don't know if my body can even take this, but I'm going to do this. I said, the question now is, honey, can you support me? And he was like, if you want to do it, fine. I will support you to go for it. So I don't even know, because I don't think I trained properly. But like EJ was saying, for me, I'm on the other side of the fence, whereby with my running, it's very mental. It's so mental that I keep saying it has to be God that has brought me this far, because I don't even know how I do it. But I know that when I run a 10K, it's nothing. I don't feel satisfied.
Really?
No, at all. It's crazy. I wish I could explain it to anybody.
Yeah, you're crazy. I'm telling you.
I like to go far on a Friday. I do a long distance on a Friday, and honestly speaking, that's like a reward for the week. Wow. And I don't I enjoying a run until I get into like 15K. So for the first 15K, I'm still the first 7K, it's like, T, stop, quit. Why are you doing this? And there's pain everywhere. My head is playing games. And then I get past 10K and I'm like, okay, once I hit the 15K mark, I'm telling you, I'm on a different planet. I start to really enjoy this. And that's why the half marathon distance is not the best distance for me, because by 21K, I'm so high. Right now, I want to keep going.
Oh my God.
Yes. So so someone said to me, you're an endurance runner. Forget about your pace. Forget about trying to, say, just think about going further and enjoying it. And I really do. So I started doing the ultras, and the 50K distance, it's not really my favorite right now. I'm still getting there. My goal is to be able to do a 50K and say, yes, I loved it, or 100K. But at the moment, it's still a struggle. But the 42Ks are my favorite. I just, once I pass 32, I'm like, thank you, Jesus. I can't wait to get there. I'm always so excited about the distances, Okay. So I love the full, I love the full marathon.
Oh no. I just need to say this to, when we air this show, that 42K is 42 kilometers, just so you know.
Yes.
So like, if you just so you know, 42 kilometers.
It's only 42K. But going back to your question, when I did the 777, I think the greatest challenge for me was the fact that we're going through different time zones. So we started off in Melbourne, Australia, which was quite hot. And then we went to Abu Dhabi in Asia, which was extremely hot. And then we went to Paris, which was cold. And then from Paris, in fact, we did it back to back. Within 24 hours, from Paris, we flew to Tunisia, which was day 4, and we did another marathon there. So it was like a back-to-back one.
Wow.
So we didn't have 24 hours to recover. Now, from Tunisia was extremely cold, and it was a nighttime race. I don't function properly at night. I'm not a night person. I run in the mornings. My body shuts down from 6 p.m., 7 p.m. I can't even hold a decent conversation at all with anybody. So that's just me. But the worst one was the first time we slept on a bed was day 5, which was in New York.
Wow.
New York was it was snowing. It was really cold. And by that time, my body had shut down completely. So, and in the flight, my legs had swollen. I think my trainers couldn't even fit. I think my feet was like 5 times the size.
Oh my God.
But I thought that was the worst. But when we flew from day 5 to day 6, South America, went to Punta Arenas, Chile, they ran out of water on the plane.
Oh my God.
It was like a 17-hour flight plus a wait time in Santiago, Chile. And they didn't have enough water. We're just drinking cold coffee, and that's bad. That is so bad. So by the time we got to South America, we were all feeling all this muscle pull, dehydration, and we were not eating properly. We were eating on the plane and just energy bars, so just anything, just eat anything you find. Basically, that's what happened to us.
Wow.
Now, when we did day 6, we tried to go to Antarctica. Day 7, we couldn't get in. In a way, it was a blessing in disguise. We didn't do the 7 days, but we now had 5 days rest, which was quite good. But I think it was a bit too much because at this stage, my body now, I was no more on the high. I fell right down. And when we finally got to Antarctica, it was another struggle. That's a tough run, by the way. Extremely hard.
I am just hearing now that there are human beings in Antarctica.
They do have campsites. They have scientists. The people live there. They have schools. They have kids.
Oh my God,
there.
really?
It's really cold, but you get used to it. In a couple of days, I'm going to be swinging over to the North Pole. And the North Pole Marathon, and it's going to be minus 25. I live in the Middle East. I live in Doha, Qatar. There's no way I can train for that race. And every time I look at my stuff, I laugh at myself. Like, are you serious? Really?
Oh my God.
So that should be interesting. So put me in your thoughts and prayers.
You know what? We will put you in those thoughts and prayers because honestly, I think that you have to be, you have to have a certain amount of mental strength to be able to do this. This is not physical. And, IJ, you have broken one barrier that I haven't been able to break. The most I've run ever is a 10 kilometers and a run. And I can tell you that was because Ngozi, ran this with me. We were in Dubai. But you have done 21 kilometers now. Yeah. What's next for you?
I do want to go beyond that. Sorry that my line got cut. That's beyond my power. But I was going to say that beyond just the physical build, which I think is a little overrated, at least at my level right now, the other part of that story was like a very important part of the upbringing of the people in this tribe is this rite of passage, the circumcision, and, for women, the, I guess, FGM, where the way it's done over there, there's a high emphasis on having a high threshold for pain. And some of the people who were interviewed in the show that I referenced talked about how right after that, that's when they went back to high school and they became running stars in in running, because a lot of running, at least for me, and I possibly T may or may not have the same experience, involves a lot of, there is some pain that goes through that, like, physical pain, and your ability to just sort of like ignore those distress signals and just think, listen, I do want to finish this race. And I realized that after that, listening to that show, I decided I'm going to breach the 3-mile barrier. And it just so happened that morning was when I think T had posted something about, I think she said something very casual, like, hey, I just had 13 kilometers for breakfast. And I was and just something about the casualness of that made me go to Google to figure out what's 13 kilometers in miles. It was about 8 miles. And so that morning I said, I'm not getting off a treadmill till I'm done with 8 miles. It took a long time. I did it. I had to rest a lot, but even though it wasn't the best performance, but still I was able to demonstrate to myself I can do more than 3 miles. Exactly. And then I tried it again and again, and before long 8 miles became easy for me. I could do 8 miles without stopping, and gradually that's how I went from A to B, and then B to C. Now I'm able to do a little longer, and gradually your body gets conditioned to handle longer distances with less pain, or even if you do have the pain, you get conditioned to endure the pain and just sort of push past it. And so right now, 2021 is now sort of like where I'm still trying to, I've hit it. I've done 21Ks. I'm still, I wouldn't say I've mastered that distance yet, but my goal is ultimately to do a marathon.
Fantastic.
But the thing is, I have to say that the more you run, the more you do races, the more you start meeting the same people at these races, the more they start inviting you to races, the more they start sharing their goals with you. I've met people older than me who, like, if you just looked at us without knowing they were runners, I look more fit than them. And these people are currently training for 89Ks, and soon you start to ask yourself, like, is a marathon really the limit I want to put for myself? And so right now it's a marathon. And after that, I do know that I would like to keep on running. I don't know if I want to do an 89K, but I know I definitely like the way the long distance running is forcing me to challenge mental and physical weaknesses that I thought that I had. And a lot of what I learn about myself just by the process of breaching those barriers transmits into other aspects of my life, my life in ways that I really like. So to answer your question, a marathon is currently my goalpost, but being surrounded with the kinds of people that I'm meeting now, don't be surprised if you hear about me doing something much longer than that at some point.
Like 89K. You know what?
Possibly,
Honestly,
yeah. You should.
Tomorrow, I promise both of you, I'm going to get up and I'm going to run, because right now I'm super pumped, I'm charged, and I think this is great, and I'm hoping to post a link to this interview on the Will site as well, so that people can hear it. Sometimes you read stuff, but you need to hear it. You need to hear the passion in both your voices. As you're talking about this. Before I let you both go, T, I want to end with you. And I want to ask you, of course, there have been many amazing stories on Will. And it's unfair to probably ask you this question. But is there any story that every time you think about that story or that person's story, you're like, I'm glad we set up this group?
Yes, we had, I'm not going to call her name, but there was a lady that she joined like a year after we set the group up. And she tried to go on the treadmill, and she actually passed out on the treadmill.
My God.
She was overweight. She was like 120 something Ks or maybe 30. I don't know what that is in pounds. So that would be like over 260 something or 70 pounds. Anyway, she inboxed me and she was like, I just tried to walk on the treadmill and I passed out, and they rushed me to the hospital. And the doctor said that my heart is dilating. It's like enlarged, something like, I'm not a medical professional, so I don't really know the exact terms. And they said that she couldn't exercise. And she suffered from asthma, and I think she had diabetes as well. So I said to her, and she was like, what should I do? I've just started. And I said, you have to listen to your doctors. I said, because this is a mistake we all make. And so she came back and she said, they said I have to take at least 6 months. I said, well, you can watch your food. So just keep doing that. Anyway, cut the long story short. It's over, 3 years since she's been on the group. And I think she's crossed the 3. She's probably about 95 kilograms right now. And she's been given, she walks every day.
Wow.
Her food she's getting better with the food. She's quite silent. She doesn't really say much. But she says to me, I'll tell my story someday. And that's the good thing about it. It's we welcome you. You can tell your story when you feel comfortable. Not everyone wants to talk about, it's a very daunting situation. Some people feel very embarrassed. And I always say, it depends. Feel comfortable and then start. But listen, if you think you're embarrassed, people are seeing you. People are seeing your weight loss. People are seeing your weight gain. So it works both ways. So just before we end, I just want to go back to what EJ said. In terms of building your distance, what helps me doing a marathon, and this is my big secret, okay? It's like I reward myself like a puppy. So I don't know about some people. For me, I love to eat. I know I encourage the gels. I really did. I told a lot of people to get gels, but I've stopped taking the gels because what happened to me with the gels is my stomach closes up after a race, and I don't like that. And it takes days before I can eat anything. I have to force feed myself. So now I've moved away from the gels. I eat cookies. I eat granola bars.
Wow.
And I reward myself like a puppy. I'll tell you my secret. So every 5K, it works. So maybe you guys can try it. Every 5K, I have a little bar of my sweet cookie that I've baked.
Oh my God.
Just a block, just a chunk. I don't need to have a lot because I need carbs. When I'm running, I need carbohydrates. I noticed that. So just a little chunk.
That is true.
And I carry some energy drinks with me. So at every water stop, I would have a sip or whatever it's given. But so the next 5K, so when I'm struggling, I'm telling myself, you know what, you've got another 5K to reward yourself. And it works. It works for my mind. So at 10K, I give myself a little cookie, reward myself again. And then again, the struggle, you are continuously in pain. I don't know anybody that runs and it's not painful. Running is painful. Slap me, but it's the truth. For me, at least, it's painful. You will feel pain somewhere. Something will slap and something will hurt. So 20K again, I do the same. 25K, 30K. So I've got my blocks of cookies, and I'm rewarding myself continuously until I get to the finish line.
Wow.
It works. Try it. So with you, with your 10K, maybe when you get to your 10K, reward yourself with something and move on to the next one and tell yourself you can do it. It's all a mind game. Play the game and it works.
And if I could add something to that, like even despite the pain, you always do feel pain. T is definitely right in that sense. But after you do it several times, your threshold for that pain definitely builds.
Yes.
After a while, it doesn't, I mean, you know the pain is there. It feels like a discomfort, but you're able to push yourself. Now, we're definitely not encouraging you to keep running if it's debilitating pain. I mean, you sort of use your judgment and know when you need to see someone. That's the first thing. Secondly, I do want to put a plug for We. It is an amazing group. I would say that weight loss and whatever your reason is to want to become fit, there's going to be a lot of pitfalls. I definitely in my journey, there are many times that I would succumb to my urge to eat something, for instance, and I would feel guilty alone. And you go there and you see many women post they're guilty, like, hey, today I did this, today I did that, but here's what I'm doing to make up for it. And there is just something about just having a community like that, where you realize that actually there's nothing unusual for craving, one of the things that got you to your size anyways. That's actually part of the journey. And some just knowing that psychologically allows you to get back up and keep trying. I also know, for instance, with running, as I mentioned earlier, one of my biggest problems was breaching a certain short distance and just never understanding how is it that people are doing marathon after marathon and I can't get past 3 miles. Well, when people post their success stories or they post, their picture after a race, some of them you can actually put a comment in there, hey, could you tell me how you did that or whatever? And people are willing to share. And one thing I think for me that I realized that despite the fact that different people have different distances they're able to run, one thing they all appear to have in common is that when they first started, they also had this thing of like, I couldn't run faster than 3 miles. And just knowing that makes me feel like, oh, actually, so, I can actually build my tolerance. I can actually one day be this person who runs a marathon, because every single person who has run a marathon that I've spoken to is able to tell me that, oh, that's when they started, they weren't even able to do a certain distance. And so I just think that having a community like that, not just for ideas as to what physical activity you can get into or, food ideas, or just knowing that, whatever you're going through, whatever you feel guilty about today, actually the guilt is actually all part of the journey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle.
Very helpful.
It's exactly.
There you go.
And I definitely agree with you. And honestly, again, I want to say this, congratulations, a group of 5,000 women that, is just doing wonderful things. I have learned so much from it. Even me getting to run up to 10 kilometers is something that I never thought I would be able to do. So I'm really, really grateful. I love some of the things that we do there. Apart from running, it's not just about running. I love the dancing.
Running is just a little thing. There's loads of stuff. People are doing insanity. People are using, all sorts of things. And strength training, you have to implement strength training to running. If not, you're going to get injured.
You are listening to Impact Africa. To connect with the program, please call 1-443-499-2755. That's 1-443-499-2755. You may also send an email to info@impactafricaonline.com or tweet @UImpactAfrica. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back to Impact Africa, and I hope that you've been inspired by T. Morgan and Ijoma Anisionwu's story, and you're going to pick up your boots and start running or doing something to, create a healthy lifestyle for yourself. If you're a woman and you're on Facebook, there's a group. It's closed and only open to women. It's WEW, W-E-W, as in women encouraging women to live healthy lifestyles. And, you will be inspired when you're on that, journey with like 5,000 other women. You'll truly be inspired. I hope you will join. And whatever your goals are today, I hope you would realize that you can achieve them. And still on the issue of healthy living and healthy eating, working out and fitness and good health, I'm being joined right now on the phone by Cordialis Chipo. She is the owner of the African Pot Nutrition, and she is also on this journey to get Africans eating healthy and battling, this diseases that are ravaging our continent and our people these days. Cordialis, good morning.
Good morning, happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you too, and thank you so much for waking up early. I know it's not 7 o'clock yet in California, so this is pretty early for you.
Oh, no worries. I'm an early bird anyway, so that's okay.
Fantastic. So you listen to T and IJ talk about fitness, but you are taking care of something that is pretty important in this equation, which is food. And you are a dietitian and a nutrition consultant. What does that even mean?
Okay. Thank you so much for having me on the call again. But a dietitian or / nutritionist is somebody who helps people eat healthier. One of the things that I heard you talk with T about is the importance of finding that thing that works for you. There's no such thing as a plan that's going to work for everybody and say, this is the plan, you do this, you're going to achieve your health goal. And it's very similar to nutrition and eating well. There's no one diet that I can say, here, this is the ultimate diet that everybody needs to be eating if they want to be healthy. If that were the case, we wouldn't have obesity or overweight like we do right now. But everybody's eating preferences are different. We all like different foods, we all eat differently, and so we all need to tailor our eating habits and our diets to what we like. Now, as a dietitian, I help people include the foods that they like in their diet and teach them how those foods can be part of a very good diet and good eating plan. The problem when it comes to African food is that there's not a lot of nutrition information that's available. We just have not studied our food well enough, and the science that's out there has not yet been translated so that it can be things that are translatable for the general population. We can look at studies and they say, well, this is what you get from this particular type of food, but if you don't know exactly how to apply that in your diet, you're not going to be quite successful. So my role as a dietitian is to take that science and translate it into things that are actionable for the lay population so that I can tell you, you know what? All those studies that are telling you not to eat palm oil might not necessarily be true. Here's what we do know about the benefits of palm oil. So let's include it, but let's modify how we use it. So that's what I do as a dietitian.
So you're saying that palm oil isn't bad?
No, palm oil isn't bad. There are some elements of palm oil. It is a saturated fat. And right now there's a big debate as to whether saturated fat is really the evil component of it. The thing about it is that our diets and our lifestyles, much like you were discussing earlier, have changed. We've changed the way that we fundamentally eat. We've changed the way that we prepare our food, we process our food now. It's no longer in its most natural state. But when you look at palm oil, it has a lot of beneficial antioxidants that are great for helping your body fight disease, that are good for your heart, and what it boils down to is the amount that you use. The problem is that when we cook with palm oil, you have to see that red in the pot, right? You have to see the oil surfacing to the top in order for you to say, oh yeah, there is palm oil. But what we need to do now is to change the way that we use it and the amounts that we use. You can still use it, but what it boils down to is how much are you using in your cooking.
Wow, that is really interesting, because I'm one of those people who is trying to stay away from palm oil because of all the bad reputation that it's getting. But there was also something that you said that I want to take you up on. You said that we should eat food as close to its natural state as possible. Isn't that rather challenging? In this world of everything is being packaged, we're going to work. It's very difficult to do this. How can you practically do this?
Okay. One of the things, like you mentioned, is it's our lifestyle now. We all work, we all have families, and we've all moved all over from some kind of place. And it's become difficult, I agree, for parents or even single people to get food as close as natural to its natural state. And so what we're doing now is we're buying the highly processed food. When I think of African food and processing, a lot of people think, well, I'm eating African food, therefore I'm healthy. But it depends on the type of African food you're eating. We are processing. I like to think of fufu. Maybe you remember how we used to pound yam, and some people still pound yam, so I shouldn't say used to. But we eat pounded yam. But now you can go to the supermarket and buy the pounded yam in a box and make it instead of hours, you're making it in minutes. But what makes it so easy to prepare is because, it's been processed so that some of that fiber that makes it difficult to cook and longer to cook has been removed. But what you want to do, basically, is to consider alternate ways in which you can eat food as close as to its natural state as possible. And a lot of times that includes preparation. You have to plan your meals. You have to take the time to say, okay, it's Sunday. What am I going to eat next week for the week? And write it down. Go get your ingredients and start the preparation process. It might mean maybe getting your vegetables and slicing them, washing them, slicing them, putting them in a container ready for you so that when you come back from work, you just go ahead and prepare them. But doing that, while it takes time, is actually going to improve your health and be better for you over the long run. So you might spend more time now, but in the long run, your health is going to be much better. It's all about planning and procuring the right ingredients.
That is definitely that's good information. And just like we plan everything else, I think food needs to also be on the forefront of this whole agenda that we have. That's excellent. Before I let you go to our Africa 101 segment, I want to ask you, something has changed in African culture. In the past we used to think that it was okay to be overweight. At least in Africa, it was evidence of good living. It was like the woman had a good husband, so that's why she was big. But that has changed now. And is it that those times there were diseases that were caused by weight issues that we didn't know, or what is really different about weight issues these days?
Well, I think the first thing that we need to look at are the sheer number of people that are becoming overweight. A long time ago, people that were overweight were viewed as those that had a good living. Why? Probably because they're the ones that could afford the processed foods. And when I grew up, even a bottle of soda was like a special occasion. I can count on one hand, the number of times that we had bottled soda. It was somebody's birthday, it was Christmas, it was a holiday. That's when we had bottled soda. You never had it as a beverage just because you were thirsty. And so now it's become more affordable. As urbanization has increased across Africa, our disposable income has increased. There are more women that are in the workplace. And what does that mean? That means more women in the workplace, less time to prepare food. And so mothers are trying to find the quickest way, just like we just discussed, the quickest way to feed their family, but also there's that perception of, oh, wait a minute, if I'm feeding my family these fried chickens that I'm able to buy, that gives the impression that I am doing well. That thought is still there in many parts of Africa. But what we need to do now is realize that just because you're overweight, people are gaining weight because of their diets that they're eating. But just because they're gaining weight doesn't mean that they're necessarily any healthier than the average person. It is possible to be overweight and undernourished. Very much possible to see that. But also in relation to that, the reason why we're seeing all these increases and why weight has become such an issue is because we're now seeing hypertension and cancer and diabetes. Show me an African who does not know of someone in Africa or abroad who is diabetic. It's unheard of. Yet 20, 30 years ago, it was like diabetes was there, but it wasn't as well recognized. number one, I think it's the changes in our diets and our lifestyles that have brought this on. But number two, also there are some advances in medicine. You know, we are diagnosing these. We are able to pick them up a lot more quicker than before. But our diet, our lifestyles have changed. Like you were talking T earlier, we're not exercising as much. You know, there's still that conception of, well, you're African, you don't need to exercise. Why are you exercising? But we need to change our mindsets, and we need to change the way that we feel about our traditional foods and include more of them in our diet.
Well, thank you very much. I'm getting complaints that they can't hear you, so I'm trying to see if we can increase the volume. I'm hoping that they can hear better now. But I got a question from somebody who is watching from North Carolina. She said, she says, her name is Mariam, and she says, how did you go about your dietetic internship as a family woman?
I'm sorry, I missed that question. How do I go about my... What?
How did you go about your dietetic internship? Dietetic internship as a family woman. My
dietetic internship. Yes. Okay. And Mariam, if you do have any further questions, please feel free to email me, and Tope can give you my email address. But as a working mother, I was fortunate enough, number one, to do my dietetic internship prior to actually having kids. But I also did a coordinated program. Now, I think that your question is multi-pronged. There are a lot of different answers. But I think maybe instead of taking the traditional year to do your internship, spreading it out over a period of time might help. But I think Mariam's is a very specific question, and I'm happy to help, you know, and there are different avenues that we need to discuss. So I think she can give me a call or reach out to me by email. But it is a challenge finishing your practical training while you are a mom and maybe even trying to catch up on bills and pay rent. So we can discuss that further.
And definitely. And I think that she and every other person that has a question can contact you at theafricanpotnutrition.com.
Yes.
Yes. So the website, I'll tweet it out, is theafricanpotnutrition.com. And before we let you go, you know the deal. You're going to compete.
I'm in the hot seat.
Yes, you're in the hot seat. So today you're the one teaching us about one of our African heroes, Eduardo Mondlane.
Yes. So, I'm excited.
Yes, you've got 3 minutes to answer questions correctly about him. So let's begin. So, what was Eduardo Mondlane's job? A, he was a doctor. B, engineer. C, lawyer. D, professor.
He was D, a professor.
Correct. That is 1 for 1. Yeah, let's see if he can beat some of our champions on this show. He was expelled from South Africa, where he was attending university because A, of the rise of apartheid. B, a protest he led against the treatment of black students. C, he had arrived there illegally, not having a student visa. D, none of the above.
He was in South Africa, and then they had the apartheid.
Apartheid, that is correct. 2 out of 2. You're doing good.
Yay!
So which of the following schools did Mondlane never attend? A, Witwatersrand University in Johannesburg. B, University of Lisbon, Portugal. C, Oberlin College, Ohio, USA. D, Harvard University.
D, Harvard.
Correct. You're not doing badly at all. Which of the following universities did Mondlane teach at? A, Oberlin College. B, Syracuse University. C, University of Lisbon. D, University of Lagos.
Syracuse, B.
That is correct. Wow, you're not playing at all.
Yay!
And number 5, Mondlane was the second president of the Mozambican Liberation Front. True or false?
True, he was the first.
The question was he the second?
You said the second, so
yes.
False.
So false, yes, that's correct. How did Mondlane become the president of Frelimo? A, the previous president died. B, he was voted in. C, he started a group, so he became president by default.
He was voted in.
That is correct. 6 out of 6. You're doing good.
Yay!
Number 7. Which of the following organizations did Mondlane work for? A, the Organization for African Unity, B, the World Bank, C, the United Nations.
He worked for the UN. So
That is correct. Wow. When he left his job at the UN, where did Mondlane move to? A, Kenya, B, Ghana, C, Tanzania.
C, Tanzania.
That is correct. How did Mondlane die? A, he was killed by a bomb that was implanted in a book. B, he died in prison in Mozambique.
He died from a bomb.
Wow, that is correct. And that is sad.
Yes.
That is so sad. And number 10, final question. Final question is, in what year was the name of a university founded by the Portuguese changed to Eduardo Mondlane University? A, 1975, B, 2006, C, 1907, D, 1969.
Now, I know he died in the 60s. So, and I think it was late 60s. I am going to go with in the 70s. Was that 75?
1975, yes, that is correct. Wow.
Yes.
That is 10 out of 10. And with that, you join our Hall of Fame of Champions in the Africa 101 segment. Thank you so much for playing. Thank you for teaching us about this African icon. And thank you for the food you do, the work you do with food. And I'm hoping that we can get more information out there about African food, and we can begin to see how this food can help us enhance our lifestyle. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you very much for joining Impact Africa today. We really look forward to following up with you and to seeing more of what you're doing for Africa. Thank you, and happy Easter.
Thank you for having me, and happy Easter to you and your listeners.
Yeah. So that was Cordialis Chipo, originally from Zimbabwe, and doing some great work at the AfricanNutritionPort.com. You should go there and connect with her. If you have questions about some of the myths that we hear, for example, she just told us that palm oil is not as bad as everybody says it is. You know, there are more things that you need to find out on how to manage some of these diseases that we are, getting hit with these days. Please go to the AfricanNutritionPort.com and also connect with T. Morgan and Ijoma Anisiowu at WEW, W-E-W. It's a closed group on Facebook, only open to women. And if you're having problems finding any of this group, please connect with us at You Impact Africa. It's been a wonderful day. And again, I want to wish my listeners and all viewers happy Easter. And I'm hoping that, again, the people of Kenya get some relief from some of these attacks and some of these tragedies. You're in our prayers, and we're praying for peace and progress in Africa. And we will leave you now. When we come back next week, Destination Africa will be back. IJ Reads News will be back, and we'll be back with yet another inspiring guest that is doing something great in the life of Africans and on the continent of Africa. Until then, please keep impacting Africa. Good morning.
Thank you for tuning in to Impact Africa. Please join us again next Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. GMT at listenvisionlive.com. Have a good week and keep impacting Africa.